This message direct from World Dairy Expo has been brought to you by Your Beef Checkoff. For more information about how Your Beef Checkoff investment in beef quality assurance helps raise consumer confidence in your product, visit www.mybeefcheckoff.com/BQA.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to AgriTalk Online. We have bonus coverage from World Dairy Expo in Madison, Wisconsin. We're broadcasting from the Cattlemen's Beef Board exhibit here at World Dairy Expo. I have the opportunity to sit down now with three individuals very active in the dairy beef industry. We're going to talk about several of the current issues facing both dairy and beef producers today. As you may know, the Beef Quality Assurance Program, funded in part by the Beef Checkoff, is a voluntary program designed for dairy producers as well. The Dairy Beef Quality Assurance Program for those deriving their primary income from the production and sale of milk, but also make a significant contribution to the beef supply through the sale of market cows from the dairy herd. Now, the Dairy Beef Quality Assurance Program raises producer awareness of their stake, if you will, in the beef business and promotes best management practices that assure food safety, consumer confidence, and dairy beef quality. And this is so important today with so many questions being raised about how animals are raised and where our food comes from. And there's a consumer curiosity right now. They're really wanting to know that everything is being done by producers in the best way possible. So we're going to take some time today on our AgriTalk Online broadcast to talk about the news surrounding lower SCC counts, proper antibiotic use, that's very much in the news today, drug residues, culling recommendations, and dairy beef quality assurance programs. Now, all these things, to varying degrees, have been very much in the news lately. We've heard about the lowering of somatic cell count requirements. That may be imminent, one of the top two reasons for culling cows. And because of this decrease in SCC count allowed in milk, there's a potential for an increased amount of residues in dairy beef because cows will be marketed earlier. So there's lots to talk about here. Let's get to our panel. First of all, we're going to talk with Dr. Dave Rhoda. Dr. Rhoda was a practicing veterinarian for 37 years, currently does consulting work and helps with the Dairy Science Short Course program at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Dave, thank you for joining us on our program today. All these things we've touched on, it's very critical today for those in the dairy industry, for the livestock industry as well, to be able to assure that consumer that they are getting a wholesome, quality, healthy product and that the animals in the process are being well cared for.
That's correct. We work very hard to make sure that everybody does understand how we care for our cattle and the steps that we put in place to assure residue-free food.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mentioned earlier SCC requirements, and some may not be familiar with that. Somatic cell count, the possibility of lowering those requirements. What does all that mean for those listening?
Our somatic cell count levels are set by the FDA, and I'm old enough that I remember when we lowered them the last time. So this is not a big issue. Nor are we unprepared on how to do this. The reduction of somatic cell count has been discussed for a long time. We are currently at a tolerance of 750,000 somatic cell count. Europe and some of the other countries are at 400,000. And so the reduction is in order to assure our ability to export our products. And so that's the real initiation behind it. In Wisconsin, we've had a milk quality program very active in the state for quite a while, and that's the Milk Money program. And that program did some analysis as to how many herds are above 400,000. And so we know exactly what that finite number is, and we know that Wisconsin is far lower than the other dairy states. Our average somatic cell count is 272,000 in this state. So here again, like I say, we're not talking about a huge number of dairies to work on.
What could it mean for beef out of a dairy animal?
What would it mean for the meat?
Would it have any effect as far as, if that animal's marketed any earlier or anything like that? Would it have any impact?
No, it would not. Our programs for when we are going to market animals and assuring that they are residue-free doesn't change. There would be some animals that would be marketed in order to reduce the chronic cows, but this is very much part of our ongoing programs right now. We would simply have to apply it with a little more vigor.
So we're not reinventing the wheel here.
We are not reinventing the wheel. All of our programs, all our materials are ready, and I think everyone knows exactly what they would need to do. And so as long as we have a little bit of lead time, this will not be an issue.
We're going to come back. I want to talk about antibiotic use here in a little bit as well. I want to bring in our next panel member. We have with us Randy Geiger, a dairy producer from Reesville, Wisconsin, and a new member to the Cattlemen's Beef Board. Several dairy honors and herd achievement for Randy and his operation, including top quality herd with the lowest SEC in the nation from 1999 to present. Randy, thank you for joining us on the program today. Tell us how you've achieved that status, and what is your philosophy on your dairy operation when it comes to cow care and culling and just the proper practices when we talk about a quality assurance program?
Number one, thank you for this opportunity to be on your program. Somatic cell in our operation is very important. Number one, we feel we attain it by having a healthy animal, and that healthy animal starts when the mother is pregnant with the calf, and we give vaccines to like ScourGuard, which helps prevent E. coli and also helps strengthen the immune system, which we feel is very important in our operation. And our somatic, and it ain't easy, but our somatic cell has averaged about 70,000 for the last 15 years, and we keep the cows very, very clean. Anyone who comes to our operation and helps out in our operation, that's the number one item that we tell them, that our cows must be clean. You have to monitor the health of every animal in our operation every day, so that because of that, we can prevent a lot of drug problems and using drugs. And one thing we do on our farm, our vet is our number one ally. When we use drugs, we do date what we use, when we use it, and the vet does that on his sheet he leaves with us. And if we have a problem with the label, we contact him immediately. And if we have and then there's a flushing. The veterinarians know a little more about this than I do, but there's a flushing process. Like if the animal is sick and running at 50%, she will not flush out the product very well. And if you want to sell her, it says hold for 2 weeks. And you just know in your mind that she didn't flush this product out. So what we do is we will take a urine test to be sure, take it to the vet clinic and have them tested for any antibiotics that would be in the animal. And through the whole process, I said once the calf is born, we like to feed it within 20 minutes of birth, and about 80 to 90% of our calves are fed to colostrum within 20 minutes of birth, and the absorption to the animal is almost 100% at that rate. Once you get past an hour, it goes down drastically, and the immune system is then affected by the calf not being very healthy. But we do vaccinate the calf through its life for BVD, IBR, Pasteurella as time goes on when those processes are needed.
Let's talk a little bit about your philosophy on culling and feeding out a dairy animal for, it's going to go into the as for meat into the market. What's your philosophy? What procedure do you follow?
Well, on the average, our culling rate is about 12%, and we sell a lot for dairy. But what we do is, through our veterinarian, again, we like to get rid of them the week before you should have got rid of them, because there's too many cattle showing up at market who are in tough shape. But this part is, if we can get them back to moving pretty good again, we will keep them around so that the quality of the animal is a lot better at time of slaughter, because we feel our number one goal in our operation is that the consumer is number one, like it or not. They have to know, any consumer can come on my farm anytime and look at how we run our operation and why we run it, because I consume the product off my farm and I expect it to be wholesome and number one.
All right, let's bring in our third member of our panel. With us is Dr. Tom Strauss, dairy veterinarian here in the state of Wisconsin and an operator of a beef herd of his own. Tom, good to have you with us. We've been talking a lot today about the Dairy Beef Quality Assurance Program and quality assurance programs overall, really, for the livestock industry. As a veterinarian, as well as a producer, how do you view these programs and their importance?
Well, their importance is to make sure that we have a quality, consistent product that we give to our consumers. That is, the biggest thing is consistency. I believe John Freitag was saying that our biggest complaint, and we want to make sure we have that consistent product. So by having programs and protocols in place and we follow these procedures to the T, and education of employees and producers on the farm helps us get to that point.
So it assures the consumer of a consistent, good product, but it also assures them that the animal is being raised in a proper way.
Oh, yes, not only, we talk about antibiotic residues and so forth is a big thing, but also the best management practices that we incorporate on farms not only looks into the antibiotics and withdrawal times, but it also looks at hygiene of animals, the way they're taken care of, husbandry practices. It encompasses the whole realm of raising an animal from birth to harvest.
There's really a lot here, a good message to get across to consumers. But right now they're hearing this message about antibiotic use in livestock, and concerns have been raised, health aspects. What does it mean to people consuming these products? Is it going to cause health problems for them? We're going to take a break and come back and talk about that with our panel here at World Dairy Expo as we broadcast from the Cattlemen's Beef Board. Thanks for joining us. We have bonus coverage here at AgriTalk Online. Back to discuss the antibiotic issue next on AgriTalk Online.